West says, we are beings towards death. We already saw that through Heidegger. We're featherless, two-legged, linguistically conscious creatures born between urine and feces, whose bodies will one day be the culinary delight of terrestrial worms. That's us. We're beings towards death. To be human means to wrestle with death. That's a fundamental existential condition. But I want to draw a political insight with West on this, that for some people this wrestling with death takes different forms. Death is not just an abstract category or an ontological situation that everyone experiences in the same way, but rather it's a lived reality. It's a lived experience of early physical death for some, or the prospect of physical death, of social death, of psychic death too, of some people feeling that their death is more likely than others is, of tasting blood as the aggressor's blow lands on their mouth, of gasping for air as the authorities' knee presses on their neck, of the sense of fear and trembling as one is made to feel like the world is not their home and that they are not welcome here. And this is how I think the Socratic legacy brings together the ethical with the political. Right? Keeping alive the Socratic legacy, West maintains that at this point philosophy becomes or must become a critical disposition of trying to keep alive a very fragile democratic experiment in the face of structures of domination. Right? And this very much reminds me, and I have to introduce Butler as in this conclusion, and not least the first non-male philosopher to feature in this lecture. As I said, there's something, those of us who think death is an evil must be mistaken, for the state of death is one of two things. Either it is virtually nothingness, it describes it as a dreamless sleep, or it is, as people say, a change and migration of the soul from this to another place. If it is the first option, unconsciousness, he says, it's like a sleep in which the sleeper does not even dream. Right? He says, he describes it as the best kind of sleep, actually. So that's one option. The other option is that death is what's called the transmigration of the soul to another place. And Socrates says, if that's the case, then all the better, because there we would meet all the dead that were there, he says, including judges who are real judges, not like the ones who are in front of me. So in his final moments, this could be Plato embellishing this story, but this depicts the courageous truth-telling of the philosopher, that in his final moments, he's making a political statement and basically resisting the power, or not recognizing the power of the people who are sentencing him to death. Our with you today starts with the death of Socrates. And a remark that I think I read in Simon Critchley's work is that Western philosophy as we know it starts with Socrates, or rather starts with the death of Socrates. So if you wish, Western philosophy starts with the death of its father. And it starts, incidentally, with a political murder. That is the murder of the death of Socrates. One of the first things that anyone learns in a philosophy class is how Socrates died. So immediately the question of philosophy and dying are raised in tandem. And I want to start by unpacking this episode. This is a beautiful painting by Jacques-Louis David from 1787, depicting the final moments of Socrates. And we've got Socrates just as he's about to drink the hemlock, pointing upwards to wherever his soul is going. And interestingly, all his friends are basically losing it at that stage. And keep this dynamic in mind. So on the one hand, we've got the courage, or the seeming courage, in the face of death, demonstrated by Socrates in relation to all his friends grieving and mourning. This is a dynamic that will animate my talk throughout.